Light keeps.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah,
It comes, flickers in
It
and
was
out.
dark and then light.
it's set as a
It's
slide.
time.
Slide.
Okay, good evening, council will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and
and to the republic
for which
for
it
which it stands,
one nation, under
under
God,
God, indivisible,
with
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ashley, do you want to take the roll call?
Mike Hobson.
Here.
Ellen Early.
And to the republic
For which
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
You need to turn off their sound.
Deborah Nelson. Here. Don Vanny.
Here.
James Schwedding.
Here,
Jessica Stickles.
Here.
Michelle Blythe.
Here.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Question?
Those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll jump right into our first workshop item this evening, which is a resolution to waive competitive bidding requirements for the procurement of 2 used lighted X-way runway closure markers for the airport. Debbie Strutz and Marty Ray are here, and I think, are you taking this, Debbie?
Yeah, we're gonna tag team it. Marty's gonna be my wingman. Okay, you guys can hear me, right? Okay, good. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of City Council. For your consideration for approval this evening is a resolution for the purchase of 2 lighted X's for the airport and for waiver of competitive bidding requirements for this purchase. The airport has the opportunity to purchase these used units in very good condition from Inland Asphalt Company in Yakima at a very favorable cost, and they're willing to deliver for a fair price as well. These items are extremely expensive to purchase new, as indicated in Exhibit B that was submitted. We're requesting approval to purchase these, waiving the competitive bidding requirement, citing fair market condition. We realize this exception could be a sensitive audit issue, and we feel we have all the appropriate and necessary documentation and legal counsel to substantiate the purchase should this arise during any audit. Thank you for your time this evening, and your consideration of this purchase and competitive bidding waiver is very much appreciated.
Marty, did you want to add anything?
Marty, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm sorry, I'm suffering from low bandwidth here, so bear with me.
Have any questions or comments on this item?
No, I think it's good that you're looking for deals, and I think we're good with legal and everything, so I don't have a problem with it.
Been nice to have that deal when we bought our first lighted X's.
Yes, it would.
Yeah, I actually appreciate you guys, trying to find even better pricing. So thank you.
Good job to Marty. Marty did all that. He found it.
All right, good.
Were you waiting because you had a question?
Yes. I'm curious about the audit objection, potential audit objection, and why what you've done here would satisfy the auditor. What is there some rule that they have at the audit to say this would be okay? Or I'm just like a clarification, please.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's fine. Anytime you're going against the competitive bidding, and it's kind of like a sole source purchase, but they kind of go hand in hand, then the auditors really focus on that type of thing to make sure that you're in compliance. And anything that is a sole source or a special market condition purchase where you're going outside the normal bidding process will always come up in an audit. So I've got with Steve. We feel like that we have done everything that the auditors have requested in the past for any kind of exception like this. And it's just really important that we have over documented everything. And we feel like we've really done that.
So they,
Can I
by
answer your
getting
question?
Steve is with us this evening too. Did you want to weigh in on this, Mr. Piper?
No, I'm certainly here to answer any questions. I fully agree with what Debbie has said, and as far as explaining the reasons why we were interested in documenting things well for the auditor, because it simply is likely to come up during an audit. That's a routine thing. It's nothing extraordinary. We just have to prove that we're not trying to go around the bid laws inappropriately.
I see, and this will satisfy that. Okay, thank you.
Other questions or comments? All right, thank you, Marty, and thank you, Debbie. Good presentation.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, you guys.
So our next item is an appointment to the Cemetery Board. Jim Kelly.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and council members. After over 20 years of service by Skip Smith to the Arlington Municipal Cemetery Board, Skip has decided to resign or retire, and which leaves a vacant seat over at the Cemetery Board. The City of Arlington, we advertised to replace this board seat. I received 2 applicants. We scheduled an interview. At that interview was myself, the cemetery coordinator, Chris Wallace, as well as an elected official, Deb Nelson, and one of the cemetery board members, Maxine Geneft. Both candidates were very qualified, and it took a little bit of discussion, but we feel that applicant Deanne Bennett would be a better selection to serve on the cemetery board, and we're recommending that council appoint Deanne Bennett to the cemetery board position vacated by Skip Smith.
Thank you. Any comments from the council?
I just asked if Deborah had any comments from being at the meeting.
Well, Jim stated it well. Both candidates were good candidates. I think one of the decision factors for Deanne was her availability was really good to meet at the times when traditionally the cemetery board has been meeting with the other members. And she had already done some previous kind of studying up on the cemetery board and meeting with staff. So I think just seeing her inquisitive nature and really willingness to want to be involved and learn helped us to choose her. And she has family history in Arlington too, so.
And family history buried at the cemetery.
I think it's great that we had more than one applicant. I think that's wonderful. I appreciate that.
I also want to take the time to thank Skip for the years of service to the community as well.
Yep.
Hard to lose somebody who's been involved that long. Any other questions, council? Okay, we'll move to your next item, Jim, which is amendment number 2 to the existing Murray Smith contract for design services to the Cascade Industrial Center.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor and council members. With the SR 531 widening project soon upon us, and knowing that we will be developing south of SR 531, the city went out and we looked at what type of utilities we needed to put underneath SR 531 before construction started. We contracted with Murray Smith to design utility improvements for water and sewer and telecommunication at various crossings along SR 531 between 43rd Avenue and 67th. After that project started, we started getting developers there, and one of the developers, BYK Construction, wanted to partner with the city to have trunk infrastructure put in and brought to his property, but also brought to a central location that it could serve the rest of the south of SR 531 CIC area. We entered into an agreement with BYK Construction, and the infrastructure that we agreed to would be a water main and force main extension from 59th Avenue over to 51st, as well as the construction of a lift station. We had to amend our contract with Murray Smith to accommodate this design work, and we did so. As the drawings started coming in, there were several changes to the water main extension and the force main extension so that it could meet the BYK's needs. And then when the lift station construction drawings started coming in, BYK realized that that construction was outside their expertise. The construction of a lift station is a very detailed type of construction project. As such, what we need to do now is we need to develop the lift station drawings to a public bid level of design so that we can go out and publicly bid this construction in 2021. We need to make a design change to the Murray Smith contract in the amount of $156,994 for the additional design work that it would take to upgrade the lift station 2 drawings from a contractor ready to build to public bid level.
Thank you, Jim. Is there any questions from council? Jessica and then Mike.
Yeah, I was wondering what was, can you remind me what the original contract amount was for Murray Smith?
I believe, I do not have that with me, Jessica. I can, if you bear with me. Yeah, my printed sheet got cut off. Going off just memory, I believe that amount was right around $130,000. I will get you the exact amount tomorrow.
So my question was more like in comparison. So this job is more, so do you look at it as this job as being more work to do as well than the original amount?
Yes, the level of design that they're going to be bringing these drawings up to is a lot more than what was originally planned. The difference being is we were originally going to design some construction drawings, not put together any specifications, not put together a bid document, and just give it to the contractor, BYK Construction. They would construct it, and then that would offset their anticipated connection fees. They have connection fees that total approximately $2.2 million. And what they wanted to do, since this was an area-wide construction, they would have done construction in lieu of paying for connection fees.
So if I understand correctly, the developer will offset the cost of this in his connection fees, meaning that he'll pay additional in his connection fees?
No, that instead of paying, so his connection fees total approximately $2.2 million. We will deduct the construction cost from the amount of his connection fees.
But tonight you're asking us to cover the $156,000, correct?
That was the agreement. The city would move forward with the design work, and the contractor would do the construction.
So I guess I'm confused then. If we're paying the cost of the design fee, why are we also giving an offset amount from the connection fees?
Okay, that's a good question. This project is in our capital plans, our water and sewer capital plans. We knew we had to make an investment in the backbone infrastructure in order to develop south of SR 531. And those costs and those estimated layouts were included in our 2017 update to the water comprehensive plan and the sewer comprehensive plan. when we started going over here to do the capital improvement work to help support BYK construction, the portion of the work that we're working with him so that he can get reimbursement for is common trunk infrastructure work. There's no, this project does not include any work that will be going onto his project or across his project. All those costs he will be making himself, as well as any type of other utility extension costs that are required by code, such as bringing a utility all the way across the full breadth of his project.
And what is the estimated offset we're doing for his connection fees?
He was looking to recoup the full 2.2 million. However, right now, the force main and water main extension component has been estimated at $1.1 million, which means he's still going to be on the hook for paying another $1.1 million in connection fees. The city of Arlington will design and build the lift station.
And then last question is, in the amounts in the comp plan that are allocated to the investment in the backbone infrastructure, how much did you have for that amount?
Approximately $3 million.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Approximately $3 million.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Do you have questions? Go ahead, Mike, you're still on mute.
I'm curious as to how many acres are now available on the south side of the Arlington south side of the industrial center right now, south of 172nd. How many acres are yet available for development? Approximately.
I'm going to have to turn this one over to Mark.
So currently it's approximately 130 to 140 acres that are available for development.
I couldn't hear that.
Not including BYK.
Okay, I didn't catch that, Mark, because you were cutting out for me.
130 to 140 acres available that have not been spoken for development.
Are they contiguous or are they scattered about?
No, they're scattered.
Scattered. Okay. Okay, thank you. Just curious.
Pepper has a question.
Well, it's just more of an observation, because as I was listening, Jim, as you were explaining to Jessica, and I remember us talking about this as part of our plans with our different focus areas years ago, and the importance of getting this trunk and the lift stations going, that for the livelihood of our industrial center. So it's just really wonderful to see this goal being met, and that you've worked with the developers, you know, so that they can, because I understand that this item before us is the design of the lift station, but the developer is still doing the trunk, it sounds like. So, you know, just good work, good planning on your part, CED, the mayor, Paul, and the councils over the years, to just see these goals being met for the future of our city and for jobs for people. So I think sometimes people forget that these underground things, you know, they're not romantic. You can't cut ribbons like you do with roads, but they are so important. So good job.
Thank you very much, Deborah.
Any other questions? Okay, Jim, we'll move to your next item, which is the amendment to the Arlington Municipal Code 13.12 that rescinds the scheduled 2021 CPI increase to the water, sewer, and stormwater utility rates.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor and council members. Arlington Municipal Code requires that we amend the water, sewer, and storm rates annually by the preceding year consumer price index for the Seattle, Tacoma, Bremerton area. The increase for the past year is recommended at 1.3%. However, we have been looking over at our operational costs. We have been able to accommodate all the growth that's coming, which will bring in additional revenue. And we do not need a rate increase for the coming year. So we are recommending that we rescind the planned 2021 utility rate increase for water, sewer, and storm.
Thank you. Deborah?
Well, I had written Jim, so he would be prepared, I hope, with my question, because I was just curious, when was the last year that the city did do the CPI increase?
That was in 2011.
Okay, so it was the year I came on board. So yeah, about 10 years ago. And then I was just really glad to hear you say that you looked at the overall plan and that growth is accommodated for, because that was what I'm trying to start thinking about, is the future and the sustainability of all of our public works infrastructure. So I hate to see us, I mean, I agree. I think it's wonderful that we don't have to raise these prices for our citizens. And this year is a very important year for that. But I also don't want to see us undercutting ourselves in the future, that we're not having money to be able to fix things or to expand things as our city grows. So I'm glad to hear that you've taken that into account. So thank you.
And thank you very much, Deborah. And as I said in my other email to you, I can't wait till you come back so that we can start working together, because we have a lot of work to start planning for the future.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from council? Jim, before we let you go, I just wanted to acknowledge the Outstanding Performance Award that we have received from the Department of Ecology for the wastewater treatment plant. And it said, to the city of Arlington and the dedicated team at the Arlington Water Reclamation Facility, thank you for protecting and keeping Washington waters clean. I think this is the 6th year in a row, something like that, that the Public Works Department has received this award. So kudos to you and your fantastic team.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I will definitely hand that plaque to them tomorrow. We have an all-staff meeting on Thursday. Unfortunately, it's a Zoom meeting, but I will make sure that plaque makes it around to every department.
I will make sure this gets over to you.
Congratulations.
Should be in your facility.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Thank you.
Right, so our next item, switch over to Mark Hayes, is an ordinance vacating a portion of the unopened right-of-way. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. So as you might recall, back in December, a resolution came to you and was approved for vacation of a unopened right-of-way, an alleyway for the Arlington School District. And so tonight is after going through Planning Commission and their recommendation, tonight is the ordinance asking for the vacation of the right-of-way to proceed.
Any questions or comments on this? Mark did a pretty good job of presenting it to us a little over a month ago.
No major concerns came up. It's all looks good to me.
So we'll move to your big meaty item then, Mark, which is the ordinance adopting the final planned action environmental impact statement for the Arlington portion of the Cascade Industrial Center.
Great, thank you very much. So without going into a lot of detail, we've gone over this numerous times. I just got the final version of this at about 4:45 tonight. So it's now been posted. It has a comment period for 14 days, or not a comment period, but a review period for 14 days through our normal process. But you will have the finalized version at the council meeting on the 19th and the public hearing. So are there any questions if anyone's read the entire document? Any questions to how this was put together?
Mark, can you just summarize, were there a lot of changes from this draft document that we were able to review this weekend?
The only changes between this and the draft were dates were finally put in there that were highlighted in the draft document itself. But all the information is pretty much the same as what you saw in the review copy.
Okay, great. And I see Mike had his hand up.
Yeah, I have a question about the higher employment rate. I think there was a trade-off or a combination of increased population and increased employment rate. Am I correct?
Really what the trade-off was this. Alternative one was really the alternative that we really supported all the way through this process. It gave the most latitude for the development of the Cascade Industrial Center within Arlington. It allowed for advanced education centers, training centers, allowed for housing units to be built there. So it had a great combination of items for development there. What we did is we actually just took the employment numbers from alternative number 2 and incorporated that into alternative number 1. So those are really the only changes there. So there weren't trade-offs. It's just that we saw the need to have higher employment numbers to go into that alternative number 1.
Okay, so the questions I have then, first of all, why did you think that a higher employment was over alternative 1 was necessary? Was there a particular reason?
We just see as things are starting to progress in the CIC, we're seeing how successful it's being. You know, when the plan was actually written, the sub-area plan, none of this was occurring at that time. And so it was really a best guess as to how successful the CIC would be. We're now starting to see that success moving forward. And so we just evaluated this and said that the higher employment number would be the better choice moving forward with the plan.
Does the population number and the employment number, are they connected, in other words? In other words, does one depend upon the other and vice versa? Are they commensurate with one another?
They are, and we always try to keep the kind of an equal balance between employment and population for that very reason, so that we're not pulling workers in from outside the area or having workers leave our area in order to seek jobs elsewhere.
So when you combine these two alternatives, I'm just wondering, or I don't know if concern is the right word, but questioning whether or not the two are actually compatible. If you can kind of get the gist of where I'm driving. In other words, the people that drew all this up and listed the alternatives, they separated the two out. They made one different from the other. And what we've done here is we've combined the two. And I'm just wondering if they're compatible, you know, if you can do that and still maintain the integrity of what they had in mind to begin with.
Well, certainly, yeah, it just gives us a higher employment number to seek in this process over the 20-year span. I hate to see us overshoot that or underestimate what the employment numbers were, so that we had to come back and amend the planned action prior to the end of its period. So the approach we took with this is we bookended alternatives. And so we had a non-action, and we had a high action, and we had the middle action. And the middle action really addressed everything in a more of a broad stroke approach, where we were allowing for, like I said, a population, for training centers, for higher education, all the things that we would like to see in order to support our center of excellence at the Arlington Business Park, or the Airport Business Park. Those employment numbers really are just gives us a bar to reach, Mike. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to get to that point, but we're certainly hoping that we do, to be able to create that kind of job in the Arlington portion of the CIC.
Does this
Okay.
also mean that when we're looking at the environmental impacts of this growth, we're looking at a higher impact, so we set the job acquiring high, so we can really look holistically at these environmental impacts and be able to plan correctly for the infrastructure and for the impacts of that.
Okay, I see. Okay. Okay, thank you for the explanation.
Any other questions, Deborah?
Yeah, sorry. Well, I just wanted to say I've sat through, gosh, the last few months of the Planning Commission workshops and meetings, listening to the commission on this, because I was very interested to hear what they were thinking through the process. And I just want to say thank you, because they put many, many hours into discussing this and thinking it through in great detail. And so it gave me confidence in what's before us today. And so I'm really appreciative of that. And one thing, it was last week's meeting, I think, that Commissioner Berg, I heard her double checking and glad to see that in 5 years, there'll be a review of this. Is that correct, Mark?
That is correct. So we'll continue to monitor this so that we have to make adjustments one way or another. We have the ability to do that.
Yeah, so I was just really happy to see that safeguard in there. So I'm just so pleased with our planning commission that we have and the work that they've done with you and bringing this forward to us. So please convey to them my thanks, and I'm sure the rest of the council too. And
I will certainly do so. Thank you very much. And yeah, I agree. We do have a great planning commission. It's great to be working with them.
Excellent.
Jessica, you have a question?
Yeah, so this is first, Mark, I want to say thank you again for this comprehensive plan. It's thorough and amazing. So one question I had, it looked like all the options, all the alternatives kind of show that our dwelling numbers don't quite grow at the same rate that the jobs and the other information did. So, and I don't think that that's necessarily anything that we can help at this time, but is that kind of saying that we're going to end up having the same kind of demand issue we're having now in Arlington anyway, that our cost of living here will continue to rise because the homes will not grow at the same rate that the jobs will?
Well, the one thing I want to point out is that this does not address all of our population and our job and our housing stock. It's only addressing the housing stock within the CIC. So as an example, Woodmansey, the Outpost project is that example where we have workforce housing in the CIC itself. So those numbers are reflecting what's being built and what's being planned for within the CIC, not in Arlington as a whole. So, we have other areas that we have to look at, East Hill being one, the Lindsay annexation being another one, where we will be able to increase our population and our housing stock with those properties.
So are you feeling like we'll be able to actually match that number of growth then in dwellable units as well?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I think it would be good to share that information, when looking at the CIC and you're talking about jobs to housing. I think it would be good to make sure that, as Jessica brought up, that there's plenty of housing or the potential for it.
Well, right, potential for housing, plenty of housing, correct.
It looks like,
and that's really identified in the Housing Action Plan, which will be coming out to you in March. So,
okay.
Any other questions on this? Don?
No, I'd just like to repeat what Deborah said. I've been watching and online with some of the planning commission meetings and stuff, and I'd like to have Mark thank them for all their hard work they put into this. They've done a good job on this. I appreciate it.
Great, thank you, Don. I will pass that forward.
of this good planning is one of the reasons we're having success in our CIC. So it's good forward-thinking work. We'll move to our last item this evening, which is our Community and Economic Development Monthly Report. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So just to go through the report briefly to give you time for questions, because I'm sure there's questions out there. Jennifer Pittman is our new temporary employee. She just started today, and she's through an employment service that we've contracted with. And so this is to take kind of fill that void of people who will be out on FMLA over the next few months. So it was kind of an interesting morning for her. She got a real thrown to the fire here with some projects coming up. I think she's kind of overwhelmed with everything that we're doing right now. So she had that look in her face, like the deer in the headlight look when she left this afternoon. I felt kind of bad for her, but anyways, I think she'll be a great employee moving forward. Attended a webinar on managing remote employees. That was very educational for me, at least. It really kind of helped to alleviate some of that anxiety with having people working outside of the office. CED hasn't really had to have that issue. We've been having plenty of room to separate here and social distance. And so we've been pretty well fully staffed through this whole, through the whole event. But we do have a few people who are taking some precautions, and they are working from home. So it was nice to have this training in order to kind of gain that confidence and to really get a mindset towards having people working remotely and how to judge that, how to see what their performance is, and just feel comfortable with that. So it was great timing. Update on some of our contracts. As I said, we ended up with getting the last or the final version at about 4:45 tonight from Burke for the EIS, for the planned action. And so I just ended up sending the last invoice to finance so I can get it paid out of the 2020 budget. So we're done with that. Complete streets. We're looking to hire somebody to do some CAD work for us, some drafting. The design work has already been done, but having Nova have any time to do the CAD work has been next to impossible. So we're actually going to find somebody that can actually just do the CAD work for us to get this the plan done and out the door for bid. Pardon me. And then the Blue Line Group, of course, with the housing action plan. And as I said, that will be coming through both Planning Commission and City Council in March. And so hope for adoption of that in April. Opportunities, met remotely with John Bonner and Herman Casadias from Everett Community College to discuss the AmTech program. You know, I've always heard the AmTech program and just heard bits and pieces about it over the years, but it was great to actually sit down and listen to both of them explain the program, the benefits that it gives to the community and the industry in the area. And it's just so much information that needs to be shared outside of their connections. And so it's something that we're working on in order to have a kind of a one sheet to give to developers as they come in and meet with us for development projects, to let them know what's available in the way of workforce training and development. And so it was really great to be able to hear that from both of those gentlemen. Through our GIM process, I brought these up simply because they tend to be kind of controversial. So the first one was, we met with Seattle Galvanizing. There was a piece of property that's available on 180th. And it happens to be directly adjacent to Elemental Cider and just east of Skookum Brewing. I don't know if any of you remember kind of the issues we have with the existing Seattle galvanizing process plant or not, but it creates some controversy in the area where it's located. There's a lot of fumes that come from it. We've had a lot of complaints about the processing down in that location. And so for them to set up and want to do another complete process plant in a different location, we just let them know that it was not something that we would be supportive of, especially in this location where the venues or where the businesses actually rely on their outdoor venues in order for the success of their business. And so we've just conveyed that to them and said, you know, you need to really focus on finding property or ways to expand down around in the area where you're currently located. So so they went away doing that, but I'm sure that I'll hear about this from them at some point in time. So just wanted to let you keep you abreast of what happened there. Other meeting was this. We met with 2 property owners that have some large lots within Old Town. And of course, they're looking to subdivide and create 9 parcels between the 2 lots. Their approach was just to build alleyways to service this. And so really we had to let them know that that was not going to be acceptable to the city and that they would actually have to build a public street in order to serve the created lots. And so, you know, as always, it was kind of a blow to their grand plan to get by on the cheap and do something that they didn't have to expend, you know, a great deal of outcome trying to finance this. And so they went back and are going back to do a redesign of their proposal. So hopefully they come back with our recommendations and we can move forward with their project. And then just kind of a summary over planning commission meetings. We did design review over Project Roxy. They listened to what planning commission as design review had to say, and they came back with a proposal that actually met the intent of the design review for their building. And so that was really great to see. It was interesting to do that with a company as large as what Project Roxy is, and kind of have them fall into line and understand what our concerns were and how important this was to us in the way of building design. And so it was a great progress here to get this design moved through the process. Of course, the school district got a vacation, went planning commission twice. And then PUD frontage wall, as you might recall in last month's report, PUD is looking to do their district office on 59th Avenue on the property that they purchased. And so that's been moved up to a 21-22 build schedule. So as part of this district office, of course, they wanted to be able to have some parking out in front of the facility. And our design guideline or design regulations require a frontage wall to be built. And so they came forward to propose what they wanted for a frontage wall out in front of the facility. And so that came to planning commission. We looked at that, approved it, and moved that forward.
Mark, for people who might be watching us this evening, and don't know, could you give a brief explanation of a 41-22 build schedule? It's probably not a term that most people are familiar with.
Yes, of course, I'm sorry. So originally PUD was looking to build their district office sometime around 2025 to 2027. They've now moved that up in their schedule. They're now wanting to construct the district office on that property in 2021 through 2022. So that district office should be completed in year 2022. Did that answer that question?
It did. I think so.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was. I couldn't hear anybody talking at all. So yes.
Does that complete your report, Mark?
That is my report. Yes, thank you.
Thanks. See if the council has any questions or comments. Jan has her hand up.
I just have a quick question, Mark. You know, on 59th and 172nd, where they're building that furniture place, do you happen to know if they are just going to build furniture there, or will it be a retail also?
There is no retail element with that project. What they do is they bring in components of the furniture, they assemble there, and then it gets shipped back out to retail from that location.
Oh, okay. Someone had asked me and I didn't know. So thank you.
Yeah, we were hoping that there would be a retail or wholesale sales out of that. They were talking at one point in time, and I haven't talked to them since, about having just a small showroom there for their customer base to be able to come in and view the finished product.
Okay.
Deborah also had a question.
And only if you can share, Mark. I'm not sure at what this project, where it's at, but today on 204th on the south side, I noticed it's all fenced in, the grassy area, and they're digging. So I was just curious.
Yeah, so that's the Portage Creek Apartments. And so it's a mixed use proposal. You may remember we went back, they did an excellent job on design on this facility. And so the lower floor is all retail along the street frontage. And then it's a 5-story building with rooftop balconies as a common area for for a lot of the apartment for the renters in the building. And so it consists of 3 buildings, a large community center, recreational area in the center of that in the courtyard. So
is that considered workforce housing, being that it's right there in the CIC area or so close?
Well, it's not considered workforce housing because this is a fair market
okay,
housing type. It definitely doesn't fit the criteria for workforce housing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Don.
Hey, Mark, just quick question. As these projects like this start, or right before their start date, is there any way that you could notify us and just let us know which projects they are and where they're at? So when citizens start asking us, hey, what's going on down there? And is there some way?
Yeah, so
they're on the map, Don. They're on the
created a map, an interactive map that you go to, you click on the locations on the map itself, and it will give you the renderings of the project, where we are in the permitting process. All of that information is on that map. And we've made it as easy as possible for the public to get to and utilize that. So
Paul and I will send a link out to the council again tomorrow, and you can bookmark that link.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know
what. Might be an easier way for you to repetitively go back to it. I want to thank the staff. That was a tool we've been asking for a number of years, and they developed it not only so we could use it, but the public could as well.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Is there a reason why it's not on the homepage of our website if it's the #1 question we're all asked?
I know. That's what I was thinking. And I actually went in and tried to find the dang map. I couldn't find it.
You just search project.
I did. I remember at our meeting, you told me to do that. I don't know. If I can't find it, I don't know how many other people can't find it. So it would be nice to have a link or some easy way, because that is probably one of the #1 questions we get asked about developments. Hey, what's going on over here? I see they're building here. So it would be good to be able to direct people to something that's right on the website. They don't have to search through filters.
It used to be on the front page when we first developed it, and I know I've seen drawings from it on social media, so I know people do know how to access it, but we'll send you the link and we'll look at if we can put a pointer to it on the front page.
I think that would be good because I didn't see it there this time. You had to like type it in. So then, I don't know. I typed in interactive maps. I couldn't, I had a hard time. So
yeah, there's been some reconfigurations of the website. And so somewhere along the line, because it was on the homepage at one point.
I know it was. Yeah.
I will say our website, the search bar is how I find anything in there. You know, type it in and it takes you to exactly where you want to go. Yeah.
That would be good. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks. That answers my question.
Yeah, and I would suggest you bookmark them. That way you always just go to that bookmark.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes it easier for you. Jan?
Yeah, I have another just curiosity question. Mark, on the roundabout on Highway 9, you know, there was on the northeast side, you know, they came in and leveled out the land and it was supposed to be, you know, a gas station and commercial places. Is there anything happening there on any of those corners?
Well, the northeast corner is the one you're referring to. I talked to the owner last fall. He still thinks he's moving forward with the project. We do have preliminary design for the binding site plan for that, and so I'll reach out to him again to see where he's at, and he just was not in any hurry to move forward with the project for whatever reason. But the property on the southeast corner, we do have someone coming in actually this week that's proposing something for that corner. It has some huge encumbrances on it. The majority of it is a wetland, has an existing single family residence on it that's really not of any value and just needs to be demoed. And so, you know, it's on the market right now. The price has been reduced, but for a very good reason. It's definitely not low hanging fruit by any means. So, but we are continuing to have people interested in it, and they come in and ask what could be done on that property. So the other corner now, the northwest corner, we have not had anyone come in with a new proposal on that since the beginning or about mid-year of last year. So
do we have any
it too has some encumbrances on it with wetlands.
Do we have any idea what the tribe is planning for their corner?
Well, the last that I spoke with the tribe on that corner, they were looking at doing a C-store gas station on that corner. They purchased properties both to the south, which is outside of the city limits, and to the west of that corner also.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Last questions for Mark? Thank you for coming and doing your monthly report with us, Mark. We appreciate it.
Yes, anytime. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark.
Have any administrative report this evening?
Nothing
Mark?
else this evening. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any comments from council members this evening? Any council reports? Okay. And we didn't have any members of the public that wish to speak this evening.
Mayor Michelle has her hand up.
Just saw that. Michelle?
Hi. Yeah, I would like to follow up or create a discussion for future on removing the house on York Park. I've asked a couple questions about that, you know, safety and security and, you know, police calls to that area. So just wondering if we could set up if we need discussion on upcoming agenda to talk about the removal of that dilapidated house.
I think we'll put that on a future agenda. Paul will get the work that staff needs to do to have the fundamental understanding of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one thing to report. Mike and I met with the Volunteers of America this last week to go over how we would utilize the money that came out of House Bill 1406 last year. You'll remember, which was the rebate of the state portion of the sales tax that we could use for affordable housing or for rental assistance or rent relief. And so we're setting up a program to do a program where there aren't other places to help if somebody can't get the legal help or something in eviction, so that we can do some processes that way. And so probably sometime in March or maybe April, we'll be bringing the ILA from the county forward once they complete it. They said a number of questions about how we would utilize that and what parameters we'd put around it. So it's moving. Let's go over our items that you want to see on the consent agendas for next week. Are there any items?
I would like to recommend number 1, 2, and 5.
Don't we usually, when we do an appointment, have it so it's at the council meeting? So
We have and we haven't. We've done both.
Okay, I'll leave it up to you guys, but.
Said 1, 2, and 5. Does anybody want to take any of those off?
No.
You may want to add any additional ones. Okay, 1, 2, and 5 it is.
Madam Mayor, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Question?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Good evening.
Aye.
Bye.